Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the second edition of Superstar SEO Saturday, now with new and improved audio thanks to a lovely gift I received from Santa Claus. This week we're going to be focusing on a client getting technique that has worked absolutely brilliantly for me basically the entire time I've been doing SEO. It's really the only one I've had a ton of success with, even though I know other people have had a lot of success with a lot of other different methods, but that is cold emailing. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you that that doesn't work. People don't like getting emails, and that's absolutely true. In fact, that's something we need to talk about before we go too deep into this is as you do this, you're going to get some responses that are, how shall we say, less than happy to talk to you. You're going to get insulted. You're going to be threatened. It's really not threatened, but told that this is illegal. It's not. But you're going to have a thick skin, so don't email me saying, I'm just getting nasty responses, because that happens, and you have to just not care. So if you're not somebody that's able to handle that, this may not be for you, but it is going to happen, but you're still going to get some clients out of it. So anyway, I'm going to show you two different methods. One is completely free. It's really two and a half different methods. One is completely free. One will require an investment in one tool, and the third one will require an investment in another. But none of them are terribly expensive in any event. But I want to make sure you have a way to do this if you're on a tight budget, because God knows I remember how that was. So the first method is going to be pretty simple. We're going to come over here to Google. That's google.com. See, I like to not assume that people know things. That was a joke in case you're dense. And let's just pick a random town and a random keyword. So, Columbia wedding photographer. So, suppose we want to get a Columbia wedding photographer as a client. There's a lot of different ways you can go about it, but you search the term, and then let's maybe come down here to like page 5. And let's just pick one at random. This one looks nice. Chris and Cami. And we just try to find if they have an email address. Contact. This is a really ugly website, by the way. Okay, well, Chris and Cami don't have an email address. So let's try another one. The benefits of doing this live. Pop wedding photography. It's interesting that it's giving me Columbia, Missouri results when I'm looking for Columbia, South Carolina. Contact. Well, isn't that festive? You see how this could get pretty tedious. All right, well, let's just pretend like we found an email address on this one. So what you could then do is come over to Outlook or whatever email program you use and put in their address. Question. I find that's a pro tip. That's the best converting subject line, and it works better in lowercase. That's the one I've had the most success with no matter what I'm sending. So use that in your email copy. And then I've put this template in the group before, but I'll make sure you get it again if you need it. And then you just send it off and send it. And then hopefully they'll get back to you. Most people are just not going to respond at all. Some people are going to respond with less than nice responses, and occasionally you're going to get people that are interested. And, one thing that's always surprised me is sometimes you get no's, but like polite no's, like, thanks for looking out for us, but unfortunately we don't have the budget or blah, 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 blah. So anyway, you can see how that could work, but it could get pretty tedious, right? There's hundreds of results. So it could take a while to find somebody you can email. And, if you wanted to go through hundreds of these a day, you'd be looking at a good time investment. If you're on a budget, it'll work. It's literally how I got my very first client. So, do what you can with it. But there's another hack that I found. I hate that term, and I'm pissed at myself for even using it just now. But what you can do is search the same term again. If we come over here to settings, we can search settings and change this to show 100 results. Save. So now Google is going to show all 10 pages on one. And then what we do is make use of the Moz Bar, which you should be familiar with it, but if you're not, it's a Chrome extension that gives you a lot of good information. You have to sign up for a Moz account, but it's free. It'll show you the domain authority and the page authority of your sites and things like that. But another feature that a lot of people don't know about is you can use it to export all the search results. So now we have this nice list of all the URLs on that result. So rather than going through all of them at once, what you can do is grab like page 2 through 99, well, page 2 through 9, and then come over and stick them into Scrapebox, which is a fantastic SEO tool. If you don't have it, it does so many things that you need it. Hey, that's coincidence. It already has these same URLs put in there. It's almost like I had prepared for this. So then what we can do, and I'm not going to wait for the results because it could take a while, but you can come over here to grab and check. You can grab the emails by crawling sites and start. Now, apparently it doesn't work the way it used to. I'm going to pause for just a second. All right, so we're back. So once again, you just click grab check and then grab emails by crawling sites. And you're going to use harvester email or URLs and just click start, and it'll eventually go through, crawl all the sites and find the email addresses of them. So that's that. Then it'll return to them, and then you can email them one at a time. So that cuts down on your time significantly, right? So then you'll have a bunch of them that you can, again, go into Outlook and then just send them off. And you can do them in sequence, or you can use something like Email Octopus to email a whole bunch of them at once. But I usually did this. That way I could customize and put in their name and things like that. That's the second way to do it. That's a little faster. That way you grab a whole bunch of them at once and don't have to go on all these god-awful sites. So that's the second way. But the way that I've really been able to scale, and I picked up 5 clients in December alone, and it's January 7th as we're recording this, is using a tool called Scope Leads, and I'll give you a link to that. But just to give you an idea, before we get into it, this is a tool. It's like I think it's like a $67 tool or something like that will help you find leads and send out emails directly from the program. So what we're actually going to do is go into it live. I'm going to do an actual campaign right here in front of you so we can see how it works. So we're going to come over to campaigns. And we're going to do a new campaign. And these are ones I use. These are all test ones. I hid the ones that are actually working for me because, you know. So let's try our same one. Columbia Wedding Photographer. I don't really know what the difference between title and description is, but I always just use the same thing. So, search. And then there's a bunch of different options that you can check. That you can have Scope Leads go out and look at all the sites for that term and see what it needs. The one I like the most is SEO lacking, but I've also had luck with social lacking, and then you can have them see if their site has schema, if it's missing AdWords, if they don't have a website at all. I don't really know how useful that would be. You can have it look and see if it's mobile ready. That's a popular one. Or if you're trying to sell some videos, if it's video lacking, and then you can do one for review lacking. So let's do SEO lacking. So our keyword, Columbia Wedding Photographer. Columbia, South Carolina. Home of, I don't know, some sports team, probably. I was going to try to sound like I had even a little bit of hometown proud, but I do not. So there. Now, there's a couple different options. The one I use most is auto, where you can have it just email every result it finds without you having to go into each one. But for the sake of this demonstration, we're going to go into standard. So we're going to click finish. And there we go. And we'll come back here to the dash. And it's done searching, and now we see the kind of results it's gotten us. So for that term, it found 5 results for Columbia Photographer in Columbia, South Carolina, that were lacking SEO. Now, how they define SEO lacking, I haven't quite figured out, but it's generally it's more than just their on page. A lot of times I find results that aren't ranking at all. I really don't know what their algorithm is, but they do need SEO. That's been without fail. So now if we wanted, we could hit email all, and it would email all of these except for this one who has a not valid email address. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to do one. We'll go ahead and do it live. So we click on email, and then I'll show you how you create these templates. You just put in a template, and I'm going to schedule this for Monday morning at 8 a.m., 8:07 a.m., close enough. And we're going to click send. And there we have it. That will email Joshua Aaron Photography at 8 a.m. on Monday morning. Eventually this is going to turn and say it's queued. And that's pretty much it. You could just pound through these that way. So let's take a look at another type that we can run. So this time, let's choose mobile view. This one's pretty neat. So Columbia, South Carolina. And mobile lacking and standard. Okay, we're back. It took that one a while to search out the results, but this is really cool. It actually gives you a screenshot of what the email or what the website looks like, so you can tell if it's mobile lacking or not. So suppose we want to use that one and that one. This one looks good, so we'll say no to that one. And that one looks good. That one's bad. So you get the idea. And then we could just pick another sequence. Okay, so they've changed that a little bit, so I had to pause there. Basically, you click through all of them, and you pick the ones that you think are not mobile lacking, and you set up, and it finds those, and then you can just email them, just like we did before. I'm not going to actually do this because this one looks good. This one doesn't have a valid email, and apparently I've emailed this one before. But that's the way that one works. We'll go through one more example. Okay, so we're back in our Columbia wedding photographer campaign. This time we're going to try social lacking. And what this does, it searches for Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and I think Google+. I'm not 100% sure on that. But we're going to go wedding photographer. Columbia. And we're going to go social lacking. And again, we could click auto and it would just automatically email all of the ones it returns. But we're going to do standard so we can actually see our results. So we'll run a pause. And we're back, and it found a few more results for us. This one, again, has a terrible email address. But this one we could email. And we could just do, instead of a sequence, we'll just do a single mail. And where is it? Social lacking with offer. And we're going to go ahead and email them. But again, we're going to schedule it because it's the middle of the night on Saturday and no one will read it. So Monday at 8:14 a.m., they're going to get an email about their missing social media properties. And that's how simple it is. I wish this would have been a search that returned a lot more results, but you get the idea. So let's look at the email templates really quick. So basically, you can just write up an email, so title it whatever, and then put in your subject line. Helps if you actually select the field. And then just type in whatever you want. I suggest making your email copy a little more comprehensive than that, but that's just an example. So then you would just save it, and then every time that you come up to your campaign, you can just use that email to send to people. We're not going to email Ty and Emily because apparently I already have. That's what the little exclamation mark means. But here's our thing, and then we can just bam. That way you don't have to write it over and over or copy and paste or whatever. And then you can do sequences, which are even more powerful. So you create one email, and then you can add an email and tell it to send another if they haven't opened the previous email, or if they open the previous email, or whatever. So what I like to do is if they haven't, then 3 days later, they get the same email again. If they still don't, they do 5. One thing I wish it did was you could create branches. So like if they did open it, do this. And if they haven't opened it, do that. They said they were going to be adding that, but so far they haven't. So that's about that. Just to show you that I'm not full of shit and I actually do use this tool, let me give you an example of how often or how much I use it. Let's see, we'll do this week alone. Monday would have been the 5th. Is that right? No. Monday would have been the 2nd, and today is Saturday the 7th. So let's go Friday. So that week alone, I sent 1,892 emails. I got 139 responses, and this week I got one client out of those. So as you can see, you're going to have to put in a little bit of work. The way I like to go about it is to pick a niche. So like we'll stick with our wedding photographer example, and then come over here, biggest cities in the United States. If you're not in the United States, you would pick whatever country you're targeting, and just come to Wikipedia, and just pound. I start from the bottom, and then just pound through these cities. So you could do, I don't need to scroll all the way to the bottom, wedding photographers in Mesquite, wedding photographers in Savannah, wedding photographers in Naperville. And then once you start using auto email that I showed you, you can click that, and that will just automatically email all of them whenever it gets done. So that's about it. You can see there's 300 and some results here of every city in the United States. So you could just sit here for 8 hours and hammer out campaign after campaign after campaign and get out, like I said, what did I say? 1,800? Let me show you how many I did on Friday, or was it Thursday? We'll do Thursday. Maybe it was Friday. Why is this being difficult? Well, anyway. Let's reload. Maybe it's just being stubborn. Now you can see up here, 1,340 leads on the 6th, which was Thursday or something. Friday. So I spent, 3 hours, 4 hours just hammering away on that, and you can schedule them out. So if your free time is at night, you do that at night. You sit around, 3-4 hours instead of watching Netflix. You pump out a bunch of emails. You'll get responses. You follow up with them. You send them a video audit or whatever it is your pipeline is, and there you go. So there you have it. I'll include a link for this below, but it's the best JVZoo tool I've ever bought. Most of them are garbage. This one is good, and I've picked up 5 clients this month. I think I've gotten 7 from it altogether. It's really powerful. If you're on a budget or you don't have a lot of time, this is, I think, the number one way to get clients. At least then you'll get some revenue coming in, quit the day job, and then you can use more advanced techniques, cold calling or what have you. So that's about all I've got for you. We'll see you next week. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to talk about then, but until then, if you have any questions, just drop them in the group, and thanks a lot for watching.